Hello, everybody. We are the Geeks and Degenerates. I am Enzo. This is my forever co-host, Jum. Today, we continue our, creature feature or like horror movies with humanoid creature like animals with I Am Legend, starring, of course, if you know by now, it stars Will Smith. This movie's been out for like a really long time. It's like the 2000s timeline.
They're making a reboot, aren't they?
Sequel. It's a sequel with the alternate ending being the canon ending, because Will Smith is reprising his role.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, because I was like, wait a minute. And yes, we'll be doing both endings here. We're not gonna do another video on the other ending.
Yeah.
But yeah.
And the sequel stars also has Michael B. Jordan. So I assume he's from the colony.
Probably possible.
Yeah. Son, I don't think that's possible. Unless
you could have like met somebody.
Sure. Among the non-living dolls, sure.
Yeah, he was flirting with one of them.
But yeah, how did you come across this movie?
I didn't watch this in theaters because it came out like around 2007, and I was like 8 years old when it came out. Am I right? 2007?
Yes, correct.
Yeah. So like I was too young to like watch this in theaters, and around that time I was very scared of like horror movies. So I always watch it when like my family's watching it and like it's daytime. And like watching this movie was so like mind-boggling. Like when it came to zombie movies in general, because like my exposure to zombie movies were Night of the Living Dead, like
Zombieland? Wait, no, that's after.
No, that's after. Dawn of the Dead or Land of the Dead, where it's just like, oh, kill the zombies, and like, you know. Here it's psychological, and I'm just like, I guess you could say Night of the Living Dead was a little bit psychological, and had a lot of deeper meaning to it. But this one was like my first exposure to that, and how, like, showed us all that how we could play with the apocalypse.
Yeah.
Like fortifying a house, trying to look for a cure. You have a dog companion. You're making traps. You're hunting food.
Yeah.
There's a lion. I'm like, oh, this is so cool. Like, it's such a different world compared to like zombies everywhere. You board yourself in until something wrong happens.
Yeah.
Also, like, 28 days later. But here, he has a whole system. He has a whole, like, daily routine. So he wakes up, he puts on fake news. They're not misinforming him. It's just tape-recorded news.
Outdated.
Yeah, very outdated news. Just to keep his sanity.
Yeah.
He's eating food normally, with too much ketchup. He goes to the grocery. He hunts for food.
Yeah.
He goes to different houses just to look for food.
Yeah.
And like supplies, but he leaves like medicine just for anyone who's, lucky enough.
Yeah.
He's still holding on to that bit of humanity, but then you see him like talking to mannequins.
Yeah.
Just to hold up his sanity, but bit by bit you're like, he might be going.
Yeah.
The man might be leaving. And then like last ditch efforts to like communicate with the outside world because he's stuck in this hellhole for like 3 years after the virus like went crazy. He's just communicating with people through a radio.
Yeah.
It's just like,
It's funny you mentioned like being isolated because I watched this during the lockdown for the first time.
Really?
Yeah. It was always on my list, like other zombie movies. Like, full disclosure, I have not seen 28 Days and 28 Weeks Later. Though I hear it's good. It's in my lineup.
First one was really great. Second one, not gonna lie, really great when I first watched it. Second time watching it, I was like, a lot of people are stupid here. Especially Jeremy Renner. I was like, okay, not really. He was fine. But the kids were stupid. The dad was stupid. The mom was stupid. And I was like, everybody's kind of stupid.
Yeah, I know there's a sequel to that too. 28 Years Later with Ralph Fiennes. Yeah, and like Cillian Murphy's reprising his role because it's a planned trilogy of like Ralph Fiennes and him. Not gonna lie, that's a sick duo of two really good British actors. But yeah, I first watched this during lockdown, and I was like, wow, this is pretty good. Right until the first ending, where I'm like, wow, that's stupid. Because I'm like, wow, that's very stupid and very anticlimactic and very not Robert Neville.
Was it? Yeah, was it stupid though?
I mean, it's a generic, like, I'm gonna sacrifice myself.
You have a point. Yeah,
Yeah.
you have a point.
Yeah.
Because the original ending had a bit more meaning, which we'll get there when we get there.
Yeah.
But
Yeah. And like I said this before, like modern, like post 2013 movies, zombie, post apocalypse movies are very much inspired by The Last of Us, and like I feel like it's the reverse for here, where The Last of Us could have been inspired by this, because it does show in the game of like, yeah, this feels like I Am Legend at most points, minus the isolation with Will Smith's character.
yeah, I remember people like comparing Last of Us to I Am Legend because you're walking around with a companion. This time it's your daughter figure instead of a dog, and you're like walking around a bygone era like place, and just like it's overgrown.
Yeah.
You're just hunting for supplies. Yeah, a lot of people compared it to Last of Us. Last of Us to I Am Legend.
Yeah.
And yeah, I could see a lot of inspo from it. And I don't know. Again, I just love the character of Robert Neville here.
Yeah.
Man has a Mustang all around.
Yeah.
And then
And like Ellie,
Well,
he is
obviously.
immune to this disease, and you're like, oh, interesting.
yeah,
But
I was
yeah,
like, yeah. And there's like only like a handful of people who are actually immune to it. And they were trying to like figure out a cure for syphilis, I think.
cancer, like it's not,
Cancer.
yeah, it's the old
My
saying,
bad.
the old saying of like
The
the best intentions pave the way to hell, and this this cure for cancer gives you symptoms of rabies, and you're like, that's not good. Like, oh, in order to cure this incurable disease, we activated another incurable disease, so just rabies. Fuck, shit, we're fucked.
yeah, yeah, like that man really tried to combat the big C, and now he's combating, the White Knight. Yeah, I don't know if you noticed. He is played by
Huh?
what's his name?
Two-Face?
Isn't that the act? Yeah, isn't he?
Oh, he's Aaron Eckhart. What the fuck? The big
Yeah.
Dark Seeker is Harvey Dent from The Dark
Alpha.
Knight. Oh,
Can you
fuck.
look it up? Actually, no, I might be wrong because I remember somebody saying that Aaron Eckhart played the Alpha in
Okay.
I Am
it's
Legend.
On my phone, I am. Yeah. Yeah. Oh my god. I didn't know that. Thank you.
Yeah.
Speaking of Batman Easter eggs, like, did you notice there's a poster of
Batman v Superman.
Yeah, because that's not Zack Snyder's. That is George Miller's canceled Justice League movie with Armie Hammer as Batman, and like I forgot who else was in the movie, but like it's supposed to come out before Happy Feet, and then it just all fell to shit. So yeah, it's like a what if, but that's the official logo because it's the first time
Yeah.
Supes and Bats were in a movie together. So yeah, but
But
yeah,
that sucks. I would have loved to have seen that.
yeah. But like going back to this world, yeah, it's very well planned out, and like the Dark Seekers are very, very scary. Like the first time I watched it, I got jump scared when he loses Sam in that corner. I was like, "Is that Sam?
Yeah.
Oh fuck!"
I hate it, dude. You know how like rewatching it, I already know what happens.
Yeah,
But I'm like rewatching it, I'm like, you stupid dog. Why? And like she's like, he's my friend. She's
Yeah.
my friend, and he's like, he goes in. I was like, I would have never.
even he's like, I have to go, and like, don't leave the dog.
Yeah.
Yeah. At the same time, we're like, you stupid dog, you should know better. At this point,
Nah. The dog was looking for food, which it was trained to do. But like,
yeah,
and I was like, when it went in, I was like, man, would I go into like an absolute dark place with a possible like roided up zombies in for my dog? I was like,
yeah, yeah.
yeah, like if it was like with somebody like my neighbor, I'm been like, like
Like,
you chose to go there,
yeah, like you made your bet, now go lie on it. Sorry, buddy.
but it was a dog, so I was like, I had to go in. But yeah, he goes in. It's freaky. He runs into like a shit ton of them.
Yeah,
Man makes a noise, and everything just goes to hell. I don't know how he like fell from like 3 stories and not been like
dead.
hit my shoulder.
Right? And it doesn't look like the zombie like aided in it softening the blow. So you're like, how are you not injured at the very least?
Right?
Yeah,
I was like, what the fuck? And then like Sam's just like right there. I'm like, what's up? I'm like, but yeah, we find out that these things aren't really good with light. That's why
Yeah.
they don't come out at day. And like, dude, it still gets me when he's like hunting for food. He lets like the lions just take it,
Yeah.
and he sees like his watch activates my anxiety. I'm like, I have to get home.
Yeah. It's a very like
Get the shit out of me.
it's like those. Remember in Chernobyl when those radioactive things
Tiger
go up?
counters?
Yeah, and you're like, can you please
Yeah.
get out of there? I'm begging you, please. But yeah, like it's a very. You see how well this director Francis Lawrence does tension very well, and that's why, even though he's a mix, like he made Constantine, he did the Hunger Games movies. I forget what else he did, but like he's very good with making like winding that guitar string of tension, and you're just like, can you please let it go? And he's like, no. You're like, please, no, okay. Like when
Yeah.
Will Smith gets like The Last of Us gets hung upside down, and you're like, fuck, I know you're immune, but you're not immune to being torn apart. What the fuck are you going to do now?
Like even like the lady was like telling us like, oh, the people from the Navy were immune, but they just got fucking mauled to death.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
by the night seekers. I forgot.
Dark Seekers.
Dark Seekers.
Yeah.
Wow, man.
Like Robert Neville not only is like was in the military, he was like a colonel. He's also like trying to find a cure himself, and you're like, oh man, this guy has the weight of the world on his shoulders.
He's a scientist. He's a colonel. He's like the perfect son.
Yeah.
I don't know. I really don't know.
You see his backstory, and you're like, that is truly a series of misfortunate events. Holy fuck! Like when his wife is stopped because it's like, oh, she's infected. You're like, am I gonna see her being murdered
Yeah.
right here, right now?
Yeah, like they just like put her down to her knees and just like execute.
Yeah.
I was so scared. And by the way, I hate that. I hate that in every zombie movie or like disaster movie. Everybody's trying to evacuate, and you just see people who just can't go.
Yeah.
You see like very like rich people leaving,
Yeah.
while like he has to pull rank a bit just to like get his wife and daughter, well, his wife, into that chopper, and then like some people just clung on to a helicopter for a little too long and just made it lose control, and killing both his wife and daughter. I'm just like, shit.
Yeah. And
Holy.
that's where Sam comes from. Well, speaking of Sam, like after he gets hung, he gets loose, but Two-Faced guy, Harvey Dent from The Dark Knight, has dogs too, and like they avoid the sunlight as well. But like once it's gone, they attack Robert and Sam. Sam gets infected, and Robert has to put Sam down, and you're like, fuck, shit.
Yeah, like we got. And around that time, like Hachiko was still hot. Like people were still talking about Hachiko, and then Marley and Me fucking came out like years after this.
Yeah.
And then, or like maybe a year after this,
Yeah.
and we get this scene. And I was just like, can you please stop taking dogs away from us?
Right? Such a
We know it's inevitable, but like we don't want to see it.
yeah. Oh man, stuff. Rewatching it again. Every time I rewatch this movie, I'm like contemplating. I'm like, do I really want to watch the scene again? Can I just skip forward? I really don't want to see Sam die. I really don't. And that prompts Robert to be like, there's no point in living anymore. So he just murders all of them, all of the Dark Seekers, and you're like, fuck, this scene's so sad, but it's so fucking sick when he's just bulldozing them
Yeah.
with his truck. You're like, alright, let's fucking go.
Yeah. He's already like juiced up from the drugs he's taking. I'm like, alright, man, respect.
Yeah.
Going out with a bang, I guess. Because yeah, like before that, the reason why he got strung up in the first place is that like man was starting to lose his mind.
Yeah.
You know, like he's losing a lot of sanity just from being isolated.
Yeah.
And then like the mannequin was moved, for sure you'd be like, fuck, I'm losing my mind.
Right.
And then you find out they're actually smart. They're doing Velociraptor shit, and like they're starting to do like we're starting to see that they're a little bit intelligent. So you're like, what? Like so you're like smart zombie vampires? I'm like, oh shit. But yeah, he gets rescued after he does this whole bulldozing thing by the lady from Predators. And I'm like,
Yeah.
and she explains that hey, there's this haven that's like up north.
sanctuary up north,
Yeah.
and like
Yeah.
first Robert doesn't believe it, and he even like says she's like it's God's part of God's plan, and Robert's just like what part of this world is part of God's plan? What do you mean?
Yeah, like I'm just saying to everybody who's religious or slightly religious, and like you're looking for God for comfort, just know, ask first. Because holy shit, when it's the apocalypse, nobody wants to fucking hear that shit.
Right? And like that's like since we're talking about isolation, like nobody wanted to hear it during a pandemic. What more during a zombie pandemic? Of like, can you please just shut the fuck up? Really don't want to
Yeah.
talk about God's plan right now. But yeah, you said they're smart and they do follow them home, and this is where we get two endings. One of Robert being like, "All right, it's time for I found God's purpose, and it's for me to protect the cure, send you on your way, and I die in the process." The other one is actually pretty smart, and you're like, "Why wasn't that the original ending?" Don't get
Yeah.
that. Yeah.
I don't get it either. I am so happy I watched this ending. I just watched the original ending in YouTube. But yeah, like he like charges Two-Face
Yeah.
with a grenade
Yeah.
while he lets them escape through a vent.
Yeah.
And that's it. That's the story of Robert Neville. And I was like, you're right. It is not very Robert Neville of it.
Yeah.
It just proves like there was like there is a bit of hope. Like he found a cure,
Yeah.
but it lost all of the weight of the meaning. Like him quoting Shrek.
Yeah.
Like I don't know if it was. I don't know if you got that theory where, they explained that Robert Neville is actually the monster in
Huh.
this entire movie. Yeah, he's the one who's like, because you saw the photos of like all of his test subjects, and they were like night seekers.
Yeah.
This is the boogeyman. This is their boogeyman.
Oh, 'cause
Robert
they're
is the boogeyman.
like he's experimenting on us. Why does he do
Yeah.
that?
Exactly. And like one of them just had enough, and it was like, okay, we're taking him down,
Yeah.
and we found his house. You know,
Yeah.
they finally found his lair. He only comes out at daytime where we can't touch him,
Yeah.
but he is the threat.
Yeah.
And that related to the whole Shrek thing, because he is the ogre
Yeah.
that nobody wants to really go near.
That's why this alternate ending makes more sense, because he's like, look, I have a cure. I'm not killing you for sport.
Yeah, I'm trying to help.
Yeah.
Like he like communicated with the beast, and he's like I get it, they're sentient, but of course we were scared of you,
Yeah.
so don't blame us. Anyway, of course. But yeah, he found a cure. He found out that like the lady that he got was like the dude's wife or something,
Yeah.
or the dude's mate.
Yeah.
And yeah, he just returns her. They're like, leave. You can have her back, but all I was doing was trying to help you.
Yeah.
And I was like, I love this ending a lot more
Yeah.
than the fucking I'll sacrifice everything, you take the cure because these are monsters,
Yeah.
where he kind of humanized these things, which are other species now. As the girl said, these aren't infected people, these are a whole new evolution of humanity. And I was just like, damn.
Yeah.
And they're boogeymen.
Yeah. They're just eating people because that's the only thing they know what to do. Because that's how much human brains have devolved when they turn to dark seekers, but at the same time they're still like, hey, we're sentient beings too, okay? So please respect us. That's why they're so mad at Robert experimenting on them, because they're like, what the fuck are you doing?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, you're taking people.
Yeah.
And like, we don't know where they're going.
Yeah, if you do it the other way around, if dark seekers were taking away humans and experimenting on them for some cure, people would be like, what the fuck are you doing? They're monsters.
Or, like, yeah, the only time when you actually find out they're actually doing it for a good cause
Yeah.
is by the time we actually catch them like red-handed,
Yeah.
and you already have a gun pointed at it.
Yeah.
You're like, yeah. So you kind of have to understand the Night Seekers here, which I love. Again, I love that whole concept of like, these aren't bad guys; these are just creatures.
Yeah. You
These
kind
are
of
just animals.
you kind of see the creature's perspective of being like, we're kind of enhance humanity with arrival when the humans are the ones being like, they're aliens. They're out to kill us, and then they're just like,
Yeah.
we just want to help you. What's your deal? So yeah,
Yeah.
it's a very smart ending, and then I guess it's because people were just too used to the whole "I'll be the hero, I will like sacrifice myself" ending, rather than something a bit more experimental. But I'm glad the sequel is going off from that ending, because if it went off from the grenade ending, you were like, then what's the fucking sequel? What's the point?
Yeah.
They already have
Right.
the cure.
Yeah. So like, damn.
But it's a fun question. I Am Legend with the first ending, and I Am Legend with the alternate ending.
Hmm.
What would you rate it?
Oh, okay. Oh, that's actually a really good one.
Yeah.
I would rate the original ending. I'll bop it down because I do like the entire story until that point,
Yeah.
and like kind of ruined the story for me a lot. But I did like everything that led up to it.
Yeah.
I would rate it like a 7. You know, like a solid 7 out of 10, or maybe a 6.5. But it's around that area.
Hmm.
Maybe a 6.8. I don't know. Nearing a 7. But it's just like, damn, with that one choice,
Yeah.
it would have like, I just wish they released that in theaters.
Yeah.
With this version, with the alternative version. So, basing on that, going to alternative version, I would put it like around a 9.
Yeah.
This is a good zombie movie. This is a really good like horror movie, and hearing the twist about it, where you find out that Robert is actually the bad guy here. Robert, or was the bad guy. Big quotations, because he's trying to cure him.
Yeah.
But to them, he is the bad guy. He
Yeah.
is the thing that goes bump in the night and takes away people. And I love that entire story.
Yeah.
That we got like both sides of the coin. We saw both sides of the coin here. And we saw that with the alternative ending, where clearly they're just trying to get back the people that they love and trying to like see the root of the problem of like, this guy is actually not trying to kill us. He's just trying to fix a world that's kind of like fucked up by them.
Yeah.
So yeah, and I like it that he survives this ending. He's a very broken man, but like he made it out. He made a cure.
Yeah.
So like,
Yeah, I'm with you. The one with the original ending, the whole heroic sacrifice ending, heroics and quotation marks, because you're like that. It literally feels like a video game where it's like press square to have the good one, press circle to have the bad one. You're like, press what?
it's like Paragon Renegade, Paragon Renegade. I'm like, all right.
Like, or just nonsense. You're like, I choose nonsense. You're like, why? I'm just curious.
Yeah.
Okay. But yeah, alternate ending movie is like a 9 as well, because it's very smartly handled, and I'm like, that is a genius way to end the whole like cliche zombie ending of like, maybe he either 1 becomes infected himself, or 2 sacrifice himself, and there's no in between. But with the alternate ending, you're like, there is a in between where it's like, I'm trying to help you, and please just leave me alone. I'll leave you alone. Please, I know what it seems like is fucked up, but I'm trying to help you. Even though you, since it's the apocalypse, he skipped steps to be like, all right, I can experiment on people now. We're like, if this was on humans, you'd be arrested, dog.
Exactly.
But yeah.
But it's this is through desperation, and like he does learn a lesson at the end, which I like. That's why I like the alternative ending, because he's like, oh, okay.
Yeah.
I'm like, I'm not a threat. I'm not a threat.
Yeah.
You know, he finds out they're actually smarter than they are. When he was like the entire time, like they don't feel, they don't love, they don't do anything. All they want to do is destroy me. And I'm like, yeah.
But to the audience watching, I will ask you the same question. What rating would you give the movie, the original cut, and then what rating would you give the alternate cut? Each to their own. But yeah, that has been our video for I Am Legend. What do you guys think? Please, if you like this video, please leave a like, subscribe, and ding the bell icon to get notified of when we upload next. We're also on Spotify and TikTok. TikTok to see our best and funniest moments. Spotify to hear us on the go. In the video, I'm Enzo from Letterboxd, and Zoda's voices on TikTok. Where can they find you?
Oh, you can find me at JomJM _ on Instagram. It is my article.
And until the next time, we'll see you then. Bye, everybody. What?
Shit. Wait, sorry. I got a message. I'm sorry. Ciao.
Sure. Bye.